Just a little trivia for you guys. I had to go to another theater that's not close by my house. It's a little bit further away. It's about 7 miles or 8 miles away. This was the longest run of previews that I can remember personally. Usually at the theater that I go to, it's like 5 previews. This one, I think maybe 12 previews were playing. For a second, I thought the projector in the booth wasn't working. I thought I was going to have to go to the manager and tell them, hey, what's going on? Why isn't this movie playing? But luckily that didn't happen and the movie started playing, so I went, whew. Anyway. Oops, forgot something. Chess pieces. Thought it fits for the movie. Got the two kings. How you doing all? I'm Joe, and today I'm here to talk about probably one of my most anticipated movies of the year, Pawn Sacrifice, directed by Edward Zwick, written by Stephen Knight, starring the one and only Tobey Maguire, Peter Sarsgaard, Michael Stuhlbarg, Lily Rabe, God, I don't know how to say her name. If you know, tell me. Robin Weigert and Liev Schreiber. Pawn Sacrifice tells a story of a famous chess player, Bobby Fischer, who is regarded as the best chess player in the world. And the movie recounts his rise to fame as the greatest chess player in the world. Bobby Fischer is recruited by a lawyer, played by Michael Stuhlbarg, in order to play against Boris Spassky, played by Liev Schreiber, and played a key part in the political rivalry between the United States and the Soviet Union during one of the many heights of the Cold War in the early 1970s. But all the while, Bobby Fischer doesn't exactly have all the dots on his dominoes, if that makes any sense, or not all of his chess pieces are in the right place on the board. Okay, you guys know by now, I'm a big fan of Tobey Maguire. I've been a big fan of his ever since Spider-Man. And I've seen other movies that he's been in, like Seabiscuit, Cider House Rules, Ice Storm, Pleasantville, Great Gatsby, and The Details. I've only seen a little bit of Ride with the Devil. I need to complete the rest of that. So obviously, with this new movie coming out, I was really looking forward to seeing how he was going to be in this movie, how he was going to act. And also the director, Edward Zwick, kind of made me curious too, because Edward Zwick has directed movies like Glory, Last Samurai, Blood Diamond, Love and Other Drugs, and Defiance. Glory, I think, is a really good war movie. Probably one of the best war movies out there, especially set in the Civil War. Last Samurai I saw years ago, so I don't really remember that too much. Blood Diamond, I only got through the first 10 minutes. Love and Other Drugs I didn't see. Defiance with Daniel Craig and Liev Schreiber also, which tells the story of a group of Holocaust survivors trying to survive in the Eastern Front. Now, I thought that was a really neat idea, but it didn't fully work. Now, technically this movie came out in the year 2014. It premiered at the Toronto International Film Festival last year, and it took a while to get to my area, but when it finally did, I was so relieved I was able to see it. And I'm very happy to report that Pawn Sacrifice, while it may not be an entirely total checkmate, it's still a really good movie, and I was very pleased with the final result. Now, I'll save Tobey Maguire for later, but the other actors that are involved, they should not be overlooked. Probably the best actor in this movie, outside of Tobey Maguire, is Peter Sarsgaard. He plays Father Will Lombardi, who's a chess player and a Catholic priest, and he's also Bobby Fischer's mentor and someone who keeps him in line after he kind of goes off the rails with his demands, and tries to keep him from going completely insane and be too demanding. Peter Sarsgaard plays his character with skill. He's a very underrated actor. I've seen him in a couple of things outside of this movie, like Jarhead and Flight Plan with Jodie Foster. And this is probably some of the best work I think he's ever done. He's very calm and cool, and he's got a really commanding presence as well. And I never really thought of him as a Catholic priest, but he has the look down perfectly. And he also curses a few times while he's wearing the Roman collar and the black Catholic priest outfit. I just thought, whoa, hold it, Father, why are you cursing? Come on. But that's just the Catholic boy in me being all strict and whatever. It's a religious thing. Can't help it. But bottom line, Peter Sarsgaard is really good. Michael Stuhlbarg's also really good as this lawyer who's willing to do anything for Bobby with his demands in order to make sure that he gets to the chess match and be the great champion of the world against the USSR, in order for the whole political endgame to play out the way that the United States government wants it to play. Liev Schreiber is also really good here too. He's very subdued, very calm, but he also has a little bit of a paranoia too, considering that he's from the Soviet Union, and they also want to play their political endgame against the United States. There's a couple of times where he starts to play the same game that Bobby Fischer does. Robin Weigert plays Bobby Fischer's mom. She's not really in it that much, but she does a fine job. Lily Rabe? I don't know. Some people might recognize her from American Horror Story. I don't watch American Horror Story. She plays Joan Fisher, Bobby's sister. Doesn't have a whole lot of screen time, but when she's there, she makes an impression because she has a really special bond with her brother, because in real life, Joan Fisher bought her brother his first chessboard from a candy store when they were kids in Brooklyn, and he's been hooked with it ever since. So, since Bobby's really into chess, you can kind of see why he turns to her the most. But okay, we've held it off for long enough. You want to hear me talk about Tobey. Look, whether you like him or not, and by the way, to those who hate him, Chris, take it away.
Wait, Why would you hate him? He didn't do anything to you.
Now, as I said before, I've been a big fan of Tobey Maguire ever since the Spider-Man days, but then I saw some of his other movies, and that just made me go, wow, this guy is a great actor. I love the way he plays his characters. He's very subtle. He doesn't overdo it. He's not showy. He's not, look at me, I'm an actor. Now, I know I keep going back to the haters, but let me just say, to those of you who still hate him for Spider-Man 3, if you are still going to go into this movie hating on him because of that, you need to put that out of your mind, let it go, move on from that, okay? I have, and so should you. Stop thinking about this whenever you see him. Anyway, I digress. But seriously, look at this filmography that he's got on his list. The Ice Storm, Pleasantville, The Cider House Rules, The Spider-Man Trilogy, Seabiscuit, Brothers, The Great Gatsby, and now Pawn Sacrifice. This guy has made some really, really good movies within the last 20 years. You gotta give it up for that. And this is probably his best performance since Brothers, which I think is also some of the best work he's ever done, and what I think is Oscar worthy. But like in that movie, here as Bobby Fischer, he is perfect. He is excellent in this movie, and I really hope he gets an Oscar nomination for this, because I really, really think that this is Oscar worthy. And I'm not speaking just as a fan. I really think that he should get an Oscar nod, or at least be considered for this, because this is very different from the characters he's usually played before. He's not playing the sense of innocence type of character. He's playing someone who's very psychologically disturbed. He's very angry, very bristling. And when he lashes out, it's like, holy crap. Something's not right with you, man. And he's really good at doing the whole crazy-eyed look, because a lot of times Tobey acts with his eyes, and that sometimes is the best way to do it, because it just takes one small twitch in your eyes, one small change in your face, and you automatically know what's going on in that person's head. And he is great at doing that. And apparently, Bobby Fischer was known to be a very difficult guy, and he was also very paranoid about what the Russians were possibly doing to him, that they were spying on him. And there's a couple scenes where you see him unscrewing the bottom of the phone, looking for any sound devices because he thinks he heard a click on the line. There's even a scene where Michael Stuhlbarg's character is talking to Father Lombardi, saying that he has to have the TV removed because he thinks the Russians are watching him through the screen. And Peter Sarsgaard has this look on his face like, similar look I have. I just went, you gotta be kidding me. That guy was that paranoid? And considering that how difficult he was, he would make all these crazy demands saying, I want to play the game in a small room with only one camera planted in the wall, no sounds at all, because it throws me off focus. I gotta tell you, I would not want to work with that guy if he was that demanding. But I gotta give it to Tobey though. He plays it so well that it's believable. And it's one of those performances where I don't see Tobey Maguire. I see the character that he's playing, Bobby Fischer. Just like with Jake Gyllenhaal in Nightcrawler, or Daniel Day-Lewis as Lincoln, just to name a few. That is the greatest compliment you could ever give to an actor, or an actress. Tobey, you are awesome, man. Thumbs up. Well done. And since this movie is about chess, normally you would think that would be a boring thing, because a lot of people, when they look at chess, they just kind of go, oh, that's great. Is there something big happening on the board? No? Count me out. I'm done. Now, I myself like to play chess. I'm not really good at it, but I like to play it. But the way Edward Zwick tells the story, and the way his direction flows, and the writing by Stephen Knight throughout this movie, there's a couple times where I actually got a little tense, where I literally just went, oh my god, make the move, make your move. The clock's gonna run out! Because it's speed chess, every time you make a move you have to push the button on the clock. Now because of that, I don't think you necessarily have to be a chess fan, because usually with sports movies, a lot of people that go to sports movies, they aren't really into sports or the particular sport that it's in the movie, but it's used as a means to tell the story, and this is one of them. I'm not super into chess, but yet the movie held my attention almost the entire time, which brings me to some of my flaws. The first 15 to 20 minutes are a little bit rocky, and I think it's mostly because of the child actor that was chosen to play a young Bobby Fischer. I'm not saying he was bad, I just felt that he could have used a little bit more proper direction. Let's just put it that way. And this movie may not be entirely original, considering that this is a biopic, because usually with biopics they tend to be very glossy and very sentimental, try to paint this in a very Hollywoodized way. Not this one. This actually gets to the point. It shows you the intensity, the drama, and even though there are a few montages throughout here, like the classic camera look that people would use with their news cameras back then, which is a nice way to show it. And by the way, James Newton Howard's score is also really good. This movie kind of follows those similar tropes, but it doesn't feel on the nose. It feels, in a way, kind of refreshing. And Edward Zwick, I think, did an excellent job directing this movie, because he and Tobey Maguire and everybody else involved put a lot of passion into this. And also, another thing that kind of amazes me, Tobey Maguire has been working on this movie for nearly 12 years. 12 years. And Steven Spielberg did a similar thing with Lincoln. He studied Abraham Lincoln for 12 years. That's some dedication right there. If you're into chess, I think you'll enjoy this movie. If you're a fan of great acting, you'll like this movie. If you're a fan of Edward Zwick, or if you're a fan of Tobey, like myself, or if you're not really into chess and you're looking for a really good biopic, I'd say this is the one for you to see. But what did you guys think of Pawn Sacrifice? Did you like it? Did you hate it? Tell me what you thought down below. And I'll see you guys next time on the chessboard. Your move.